that have a good sense of humor and that can pull out the most appropriate movie quotes at just the right moment. And Allison did just that.
Yes, that girl is quite talented.
Why don't we interview her?
Welcome to Creating Connections Podcast, Episode 14. I'm Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Certified Personality Trainer Vickie Musni.
And today we are on the podcast talking about connections, of course, but connections can be lifelong or they can be short-lived.
Yep.
And it's amazing when you run into people how sometimes that connection, when you haven't seen them for what seems like ever, all of a sudden you pick right back up where you left off.
Exactly.
And you're experiencing that this week, right, Vickie?
Yes, that. And then the other thing is I've made new connections and feel like, did I really just meet you yesterday? I feel like I have known you my whole life. And I'll be honest, I'm supposed to be on a business trip, and I almost feel a little bit guilty that I, openly reported to immigration that trip is business because it has been so much fun. My life is really fun.
We do lead amazing lives, and connections, I think, are drawn from many different places, many different areas. But what can someone do to keep that connection going?
Well, I think the odds of creating a deep connection early on increase dramatically when you start in Vegas. The relationships with the people, cheers. This is just water, by the way, honest.
This is Kahlua and coffee, seriously. No.
But no, I think there is something about just the added environment. And Vegas is its own world. But when you meet at a show or an industry-related conference or gathering, and you're in just that kind of a different high-energy environment, I think that's kind of can set the tone for what the relationship is like. And it does make it easier. But that's been one of the other highlights of this trip is seeing people that I normally get to see in shows. And we just talked about this when you and Scott were at my house. People that you usually see when you're traveling to have them in your environment. And this trip started with me going out to Verdun to have dinner at Dave Tournier's house with his wife and kids, and Brian Podwarny and his wife and their kids. And it was just so fun to, I love Vegas and those shows are great, but it's really fun to see the real life, to get to tuck Dave's kids in and read bedtime stories with them. When in the past we'll just have the occasional Skype chat or the girls would grab the phone when he and I are talking. And to feel like, we are truly connected at a different level now.
And it's amazing the connections you can take and bring that are born out of situations like that, out of Vegas or whatever the case may be. Dave and Kat, his wife, actually flew into or drove down, and we all met and converged in Minneapolis to go see Garth Brooks.
Together, yes.
Yeah.
Remember.
That was a bucket list item of mine to go see Garth Brooks, and it was a great opportunity to be able to connect with Dave and Kat in a more real level. And I really find that, yes, creating that connection at a Vegas conference is great. I find, and again, this is just my experience, I found a much stronger bond is connected when you are in a workshop setting with someone.
Yes.
And because the workshop setting, it's not the bravado and I booked this many events and all the talk that's in Vegas at a show floor or in the hallways. But when you're at in a seminar or a workshop with someone, I should say, when you're in a workshop with someone, you really get to see that true person and who they are and what they have for talent, skill developed, and how they really perform essentially and interact with people on a regular basis. And you got to see that this week in your Power Personalities workshop, right?
Yes, I had so much fun. And I've said this before, I have a lot of fun things that I get to do. I love doing weddings, whether it's the entertainment side or the video side. I love our trivia company. But of all of the fun things I get to do, this is my favorite. And I guess it's just because the message of personalities has changed my life and my relationship so much. And for me as a presenter and a workshop leader to get to see other people experience that, to see their eyes open, to see them start to connect the dots and apply this to their settings and their relationships, and feel like I get to participate in that personal transformation for them, that just excites me so much. And this workshop was so fun. We had 18 of us there, and we did a lot of different kinds of interactions because it's personality based. As a presenter, when I am creating the workshop experience, I am trying really hard to create things with a very specific purpose, knowing that in my audience, I have different combinations of all 4 personality types. So part of how I present and the activities that I choose, I'm trying to demonstrate to them practically the same concepts I'm trying to teach them conceptually. You need to create things that resonate with all 4 different personality types, whether it's in how you are talking to people when you're sitting with a group, and maybe you've got, in our case, a bride and a groom and a mom and a dad who are all part of the decision-making process but have all 4 different personality types. It's the same thing I go through when I'm creating a presentation. I look at my audience and I have to do that too. So I've got, sometimes where we're doing all large group activities, sometimes where people are working in small groups, sometimes where you're playing a game, sometimes where you're creating something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. One of my favorites is when I break people up into groups by personality type for the first time and give them their first written assignment, and I give purposely somewhat vague directions, because part of the fun is watching the results, how each different group tackles the same project with the same limited instructions and the results that they create. So I'll be working on a blog post and showing some pictures of the group posters that they made later on today. So, and then I get to do the workshop again tonight. So yesterday I left Winnipeg, and right now I'm in Calgary. So nice. I did this her language seminar last night with the CDJ chapter here, and then I've got a workshop tonight as well.
Cool.
So, yeah, so fun.
Cool. The workshops, to me, when I'm hosting a Jeffrey Gitomer Little Black Book of Connections workshop or the Sales of Solutions workshop, the dynamics inside the workshop are so interesting because people come from all different skills and talent levels, and they always say the teacher learns just as much, if not more, than the student, right? And so for me, it's how can I be most effective and move them from where they're at to where they want to go, what they want to get out of this workshop, whatever it might be. Whether we're going through and actually taking care of the 30-second commercial in Little Black Book of Connections workshop, or we're learning how to net weave in Little Black Book of Connections workshop, or just overcoming objections in Sales of Solutions, whatever their challenge or issue or problem is, how can we best approach it? And also take into account their personalities, because that's huge. I think from a trainer standpoint, knowing how to approach the people that you are sitting in front of, whether it be training or in a sales situation, how can you make that better connection with that person?
Well, and it's just understanding the diversity that comes to the table, because even though as a trainer and presenter we think, okay, these are my objectives, and even if we advertise it that way, everybody's situation is so unique that sometimes they're going to say, oh yeah, and also I can apply this in this situation. And I see that all the time, especially with personalities. And when I'm doing like a 1-hour seminar like I did last night, mm-hmm. Pardon me. Remember how I was sick last time we recorded?
Yeah.
I bronchitis. I finally went to the doctor 2 days later to urgent care, and he's like, yeah, let me get you a prescription for your bronchitis. And I went, my what? Are you kidding me? I don't have time for this. So I feel so much better, but I still don't sound all the way quite right.
It's all good.
Lost my train of thought completely.
So we were talking about your bronchitis. No.
No.
So.
Oh, the people come to the workshops with their own agendas, and I'll say, you know, because personalities is so broad, you could talk, you know, for days and weeks and years about it in different situations. And so I try to be real focused. Okay, this one is about sales. I'm going to keep it really business focused. But I can't help that people see the light bulbs and they say, oh, yeah, this reminds me of that situation. Or now I understand, you know, my relationship with my spouse. But I had a guy last night after the seminar say to me, yeah, I know this is about business, but I'm kind of taking a break from my business for now, my DJ business. But really, I signed up for your workshop tomorrow because I just had a 5-year relationship end badly. And I'm hoping that I can apply what you teach about personalities to my next relationship. I went, okay, well, that's not going to be our focus, but more power to you if you can apply it to your specific setting.
But it's important, and it covers such a broad range of spectrum of just creating that connection with someone in life.
Yes.
It could be your parent. It could be your child. It could be your spouse. It could be your coworker. It could be the contact you're trying to convince to book your services. I mean, it depends on, you know, it doesn't really matter what the situation.
Yeah.
You know, the personality quadrant is applicable to any walk of life, really. So that's.
I'm just about done editing the next book too, which is kind of fun. The Personalities for Educators book, which is I'm super excited about. My brother Kevin co-wrote it with me because he still is a classroom teacher, and even though that's my background, I've been out of it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so my approach is, yes, I get that it applies to everything, but I'm going to try to provide resources that are as specific as possible for different areas of life. And then if you connect the dots, more power to you.
Yep.
That's great. But yeah, it is. It's really fun. I had a couple of husband and wife teams at the Huggery seminar last night for the Speaking Her Language. And there's always a lot of, you know, elbow nudging and stuff when I say certain things. And I'm like, all right, well, you guys discuss that a little bit more privately later. Because there's a dynamic when you're working with your spouse. And
it is.
Craig and I have a lot of experience in that. And I know Michelle is definitely involved to a degree in your business too with all the HR stuff and things.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of overlap. You know, life isn't all neat and compartmentalized.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Creating connections with people is something that, you know, the more you practice being intentional, the more natural it becomes. And yeah, I mean, I had a gal this morning at breakfast. I just walked to the little Denny's across the parking lot from my hotel. And I mean, Denny's are all over the place. We have them in the States. I've been to dozens of Denny's in lots of different places. But I tell you, I have never experienced the kind of connection with a server at a Denny's as I did this morning. And I went and asked for the manager and said, you've got a gem right here, that kitty. She took care of me like I've never seen in a Denny's. And I have weird, you know, dietary needs. And she was so quick to ask about my issues because I was asking like some really weird specific questions. And you know, really just usually in omelets, that's fine. They're big enough. That's all I need. But they come with sides. Well, I can't have bread. So she says, well, what are the options? And, you know, and so she's like, well, how about fruit? And I was like, yeah, but I can't have melon. She said, what can you have? She said, I will tell you what, I will hand do it myself. I won't have the kitchen staff do it. I will bring you all strawberries if that's the best fruit for you.
Nice.
And then she says, oh, wait, then you can't have hash browns either. Do you like zucchini and squash? I can have them saute some zucchini and squash for you. Who does that?
Right.
And in a Denny's.
So,
I was like, wow.
Keep your ears open.
Service, you know, it overlaps with personality.
Because I know this wasn't in your market, but keep your ears open because some of your best talent can be taken from the restaurant service industry because they're used to, for lack of a better term, kissing ass. They're used to taking care of their clients. and making sure that everything is taken care of, because that's how they earn their tips.
Yep.
And Mike Walters says this in his book, Running Your Multi-Op. You're welcome, Mike. Shameless plug.
You're so good at this.
I am good at this, but Mike Walters says that about always keeping your ears open and your radar up in regards to where to find your next great talent. And whoever's in that market in Calgary, if you're looking for someone, hey, go check out Kitty at the local Denny's. We don't want to take her away from her job there necessarily, but maybe if you have a bigger, brighter opportunity for her, it could be a stepping stone for her to something greater. And so, you know, you always got to keep that.
Schedule your meetings there and know that you're going to get really well taken care of.
Right. Then your clients may wonder why you're going to Denny's, but, you know.
I was thinking networking meetings.
Oh, okay. Now I got you. Okay.
They do have a nice little private room.
Well,
and
yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
So, did you hear about the big announcement?
I've been in my little Canadian bubble. I don't know. What did I miss?
This was just announced. Mobile Beat Las Vegas 2016, the 20th anniversary keynote. Did you hear?
I did.
Jon Taffer.
I did hear that. I saw that the other day.
Okay. Self-admittedly, and I can say this because I have many friends on the podcast or who watch the podcast who are like me. You know, Sean Big Daddy McKee, who we've had as a guest, and Jody Harris, who has her own podcast as well. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and the only shows I watch really are like wrestling or Bar Rescue.
When we're in Vegas next time, we should record together at the Bacon Bar, because he did the episode about that location.
Okay,
Let's do it. Yeah,
sounds great.
It's bacon. Like, I don't know how they could have been so bad that they needed that show. I never got to visit there before the show.
Okay,
but yeah, okay. We'll record there.
I just think Jon, in seeing his approach, and of course, you know, some things are scripted for TV, and I get that, you know. But seeing his approach on, he's not normally just fixing a business. He's fixing connections between people.
And attitudes and...
Yeah, and attitudes and grudges and all these other things. And I find that fascinating. And they don't show a ton in regards to the remodel of things and how they go about the branding. I mean, he talks about the branding style and why he chose that brand for that marketplace. And it's just amazing sometimes how some business owners really take to heart what he has said and the direction he's put them in and literally go great guns with it, while others just sit back and wonder and want to go back to their old ways of doing things and not embrace the change that is put before them to put themselves in a positive direction. I think Taffer is going to be a great keynote for Mobile Beat 20th anniversary, and I'm very excited I get to go there and actually, you know, see him speak. It's going to be pretty cool. So.
But we're not going to wait until Mobile Beat to do that podcast. We're going to do that one in August, right?
Yes, we will absolutely do that podcast at the next show that I'll be presenting at and you'll be presenting at, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the Las Vegas DJ show. That's coming up August 31st.
Through September 2nd?
August 30th, excuse me. August 30th is kind of the welcome party. Yeah, that Sunday, August 30th welcome party, and then Monday, August 31st, Tuesday, September 1st, and Wednesday, September 2nd. Easy for me to say. But we're going to have
just the whole week, you know.
Right. You know, it's going to be a blast. We're looking forward to getting back into Vegas, and we'll do an episode.
Stay a little longer.
Yeah, we'll do an episode from the Bacon Bar in Vegas that Jon Taffer got to remodel. Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor signing off for Creating Connections episode 14.
Vickie Musni, Certified Personality Trainer. Looking forward to seeing you again next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.